Alright, so the first step in my process was to look at Red Hook as the site and see what I could find out that had the most value. And when I first looked at it, I looked at the grain terminal and how in scale it's so big, and also all of it is surrounded by these ports. So I took the idea of ports and I wanted to go further from that. So I took that and kind of transformed it in my next idea of the process, which was the shipment of goods. Because it relates back to the grain terminal, the shipment of grain, so I thought that had a direct relationship. So I did that, and I took these the shipment of goods, and I wanted to go on to another idea, which I moved on to sweatshops. Because I thought about the relationship between the shipment of the grain and with like slavery to produce that, and the relationship of these workers in sweatshops shipping over sneakers that they're like in slavery over making. So after that, I moved on to looking at the sneaker, because we were told to do something that we're into, that we like. So I went on and I looked at the Nike versus the your everyday New Balance in scale. So here we have the Air Yeezy, which is a $250 shoe versus like a $30 New Balance. And I wanted to look at that in scale to the grain terminal and human scale, how the grain terminal is so much bigger than the human scale. So my next image is vintage shoes. I wanted to switch to the different gender and look at what women are into. So I did that, and I pulled up this image, and I was looking at it, and I see so many shoes, and I just thought about how much America supersizes everything, and we need to have like the biggest houses, the 4-car garage. Why we don't really need the supersized fry? Why does America have the supersized fry? Is the question. And we have the clothes, the purses. We have so much of everything that's not realistic. It's superficial. So I looked at that, and that relates to materialism. And that's kind of where I came to with this whole process of getting to is materialism, and relating that all the way back to the grain terminal with the shipment of goods. So right here you see like an image of people, they have to buy all the cell phones, they buy all the jewelry, they buy all the clothes. And then I thought, what causes this? What causes all the materialism? So obviously pop culture. You have rappers like Jay-Z and Kanye West who design shoes, they design shirts, and it takes a whole generation and makes them want to buy these items. So I kind of thought about how that relates all the way back to the grain terminal, and kind of it's far out, but out of scale from the first idea. So this is a site diagram I made of we have on the south side the water covering the south and the east side of the building. And on the north side, you have the track, the football fields, the basketball courts, and the baseball fields, and how the sneaker relates to sports. That's how I got that. So then I went to start my design. So I looked at the sneaker, and I wanted to make some kind of relationship that I could use off of. So I took the triangle, and in math class we're studying this 30, 60, 90 triangle. So I thought, why not throw that in there? So I measured up the shoe, and it worked out close enough. So I used that, and I tried to create a concept off of that, of maybe using triangles in my design. So my first sketch was kind of taking the original building and using that triangle to make an addition onto it, kind of using the flamboyancy of the outside of the sneaker, how colorful it is, and maybe using that on the outside as facade. So moving up from that, I made some more sketches, trying to be a little bit more literal with the sneaker. Then moving on to having the shoelace, and the box. And now I was kind of moving on to the shoe being the original building, and the box being like the presentation of the building pushing out of it. Also the shoelace for circulation I was thinking about, because it kind of has a cool relationship with the shoe. So then I went and I kept looking at the box and the presentation of the building, because I thought maybe that was going to be the big idea with my project was the presentation. So I looked at that and I thought about how the shoes fit in as these two triangles. And I thought, maybe I even go to that. But I felt like I was designing from the outside of the building, so I wanted to go to the inside. So I made this programmatic diagram. Wanted to go from the top of the building, from fantasy, and then hitting to the bottom at reality. So at the top you have the lobby and the gift shop, then you go to the media's impact on materialism, the logos and branding, and then like at the bottom you pass this border that's the sweatshops and this reality. So after that, I took a sneaker, designed the sneaker, and I said, I didn't like the design I'd already done. I felt like it was designed from the outside to the inside. And so I took the sneaker, looked at the shoelace being the most interesting part of it, and then relating that to the knob. So using the knot, I created this system of rules where the grid lines of the silos on the building, I used that to create the vertical movements of the interior walls, which is kind of knot-like, where if you were to grab from the outside and pull together, it would almost be like a knot, as using them for the interior walls. So then, programmatically and spatially, I fit the program in, and was able to do that using some hierarchy and what was more important and what was less important in the building. So this is a diagram of that. And then, as you move through, you hit, you have these big, nice spaces, and then you get to the bottom, and it's just this, 8-foot ceiling of sweatshops, and it's just reality. So your circulation, I wanted to create something that was like lace-like as you're moving through the building. So I kind of took that idea and made this simple diagram of that. But I didn't feel like the circulation kind of ties back to the shoe, but I wanted a dramatic effect at the end. So I kind of have this Wizard of Oz feel where at the end, the curtain is open, and you find out at the end that, what's reality, and it's basically a 50-foot elevator that opens to the sweatshop, and reality sets in, and you find, you realize what, materialism is all about, and basically you have the understanding of the building. So this is basically like a SketchUp rendering of my idea, and basically that is that materialism is breaking out of the box of reality.